So if all your brain cells are dead and you're looking for a video where you'll get step-by-step solution or a life hack that will completely change your life, then you can skip this video because this video does not have any of that shit. But what this video does have is the process by using which you can actually develop a thinking and you can actually solve all of your life problems and even help create a career path that you have interest in. So if you're ready to use your brain, then stick with this video. Otherwise, you can leave right now. Congratulations, those who are still in the video, you can tap your backs because you're amongst the top 10% people. 90% of the people are actually scrolling reels and watching shorts and have less than 5% of attention span left right now. So if you are still watching this video, that means you're amongst the top 10%. You deserve a tap. Very good work. Now let's continue with this video. So hey guys, I'm Shekhar. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll give you a framework using which you can develop a thinking process and that will enable you to solve any problem in your life. Let's get started. So before we jump into the exact process, I'll give you an example and using that example, things will become very clear for you. So I'm sure you must have heard about this principle of 80-20. If you haven't, if you live under the rock, then let me tell you what it exactly states in very brief. So 80-20 says that 80% of the outcomes are the result of 20% core activities. So for example, let's say someone is trying to get fit. They end up following a lot of video channels, they read a lot of articles, they consult a lot of people, and then they do a lot of exercises. They run, they jog, they swim, they go to the gym. For dieting, they eat a lot of shit crab, and by shit crab I mean healthy, but a lot of different salads which they don't even find tasty, which not which is which tastes horrible in simple words. So they try doing these things and none of them gives them the desired results. Why? Because what it actually takes to be fit is just being consistent in the gym and eating clean. That's it. You don't have to do 10 different sets of workouts. You don't have to jog. You don't have to swim. You just hit the gym, eat clean, and you'll be fit. So, to be fit, all it takes is that 20% core activities, right? And this is applicable to almost 80% tasks. Again, using the 80-20, it is applicable to 80% of the tasks that we do. So, with this in mind, I'll give you an example, a more relatable example of everyone's life. So let's take an example of a random person named Yuvraj who is trying to get into product management. So product manager is a role in corporates for those of you who don't know. And the main role of a product manager is to think critically and find solutions for the organization that will either help the organization grow or basically it will help the organization to achieve its goals. So that is the main task of the product manager. And Yuvraj is someone who's actually looking to start his career in product management. He has recently graduated, he has recently completed his MBA, and now he's trying to pivot himself into a role of product management. So this is what Yuvraj is. Now, to get into product management, what Yuvraj does is Yuvraj reads a lot of articles. Let's say Yuvraj's target company is Google. So Yuvraj reads a lot of articles. Yuvraj talks to a lot of people who are working as product managers. Yuvraj reads a lot of books. He purchases a few courses related to that, and he also enrolls himself in the placement cell where he's taking tips from their seniors, the senior of the colleges, and different people. So he's in touch with a lot of people and he's doing a lot of activities. At the end of the day, Yuvraj does not have a clear path on what he should actually be doing to get success. He's very confused with everything, and the reason being that he's relying on a lot of sources. So out of frustration, after 1 month or 2 months, Yuvraj sits down, takes a pen and paper, and tries to collect his thoughts. So everything that he has gathered from all these resources, he just tries to gather it all. And he realizes that the one skill that was actually required for him to be a successful product manager or to actually start building something in product management was developing a critical thinking skill, number one. And second most was having knowledge about the industry where he wants to work. So this was the 20% in on which Yuvraj should have ideally be focusing. But considering all those aspects, he was not being very focused on this 20%. Now, when Yuvraj did a deep dive on this 20%, he realized that he's an MBA and he already has a fairly good enough idea about the industry. That means in this 20% as well, there is an 80-20 divide. So he mainly had to work on sharpening his skill of developing a logical thinking or a structural thinking, which would be used to solve problems of any product manager, any product related problem. So in order to do that, all he has to do is solve a lot of case studies, study about a lot of problems that previous product managers have solved. And this was it that he had to do, just sharpen his logical structural thinking ability, right? And when Yuvraj started working on this stream, he started working on developing his structural thinking. He realized that he is not getting the right interest. He's not interested in doing these activities. He's not interested in solving case studies. And that just instantly struck him. Because as a product manager, Yuvraj's core role will be to think structurally and solve the problems that are there in the product. And when that is the 80% work he has to do, and he's not interested in doing that work, this clearly indicates that Yuvraj's interest lies in some other domain, right? And using this, Yuvraj got a clarity that product management is not for him, but there could be something else. And to figure that out, he again started using the same principle. And if you largely look at our problems in life, all of our problems are mostly linked in the same way, right? If we are able to figure out that one activity which is the major contributor in the problem, largely our problem would be resolved. Just like in the case of Yuvraj, he figured out that there was one thing that he had to solve for. And if he was good at solving that problem, he was good at solving that particular aspect, let's say it was critical thinking or structural thinking in Yuvraj's case, then his problem of becoming a product manager, his problem of identifying whether product management for him is for him or not, and all other problems would have ideally been solved, right? All other trailing problems which are related to this particular issue would be very easily solved. What could be other trailing issues, if you ask? So it could be unemployment. So he was unemployed, obviously, because he was looking for a job and he was confused. He was not getting a job. Why? Because he did not have clarity. Now, the moment he got clarity, he started working on that particular aspect which he figured out. He realized whether product management is for him or not. He started working on it. If let's say it was for him, he would work on him. He will get the job. All the trailing issues will get resolved. So this is the ideal approach that we all must be using. So to generalize it, what I'll say is, if there is any problem in your life, don't just blankly follow a framework or let's say a step of solutions that is given by someone, because their problem could be different than yours. You need to identify the 80% of the problem and what 20% steps could actually minimize that problem. Once you do that, you just need to rigorously do that, practice that 20% for the next 1 week or 2 weeks or maybe a month, depending on your personal situation. And doing so will give you a very clear answer whether what you are solving is actually solvable, whether it's actually possible to solve, or whether are there any scopes of even doing this activity. So that 120% actioning will tell you everything from A to Z, just like it answered all the problems, all the questions of Yuvraj, right? And this aspect, if you're able to get in your life, if you're able to identify that 80% and how you can solve that 80% by using 20% of the activities, then you will be able to solve any problem in your life. Just like I gave you the example of Yuvraj. So now I want you guys to do one thing, as there's no actionables after this video. I want you guys to do one thing. The moment this video ends, I want you guys to just sit in silence for 2 minutes and take a pen and paper, write down the problem that you have. Just one problem that you think is a very big problem in your life. I'm sure it must be on top of your head every time because that's like one of the biggest problem in your life. So just write it down. Just write the problem with no pressure of finding the solution for it, with no pressure of getting the answer right now. Just write the problem, read that problem for the next 2 minutes, close your diary and move out. And then don't think about that problem for the next 24 hours. Don't think about it. Don't open your diary for the next 24 hours. Why I'm saying this is because in the next 24 hours, what will happen is the problem will get engraved to your subconscious mind. When you give it that silence time, when you give it the time to think, the problem will get engraved in your in your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind will keep finding a solution to it because there is every solution exists within you. Once you have done that, let's say after 24 hours, again open the notebook, take a pen and paper, and now think what all possible solutions did your brain give. Were there any possible solutions? And I'm sure you'll get some answers to it. They might not be very clear, they could be vague answers. You'll have to repeat this activity many times, but doing so will enable your mind to start, it will enable your mind to think in a way, in a structured way, that will start giving you solutions to your problems. And this will also help you understand how to use these laws and principles that are made by a lot of authors. So for example, 80/20, I've seen a lot of people, they read a lot of self-help books, and then they come to me and say that these books are not applicable in real life. These are very theoretical and they don't work in real life. But if you're able to understand the core essence of the law and how it is applicable in your life, then you will be very easily you can easily use these laws, and you can easily use these laws in your life. So as I gave you the example of 80/20, right? And with this channel, my goal is to educate you guys on how you can use these laws, how you can use these principles, how you can use your subconscious mind, which is like 80%, 90% of your entire mind, in the right possible direction. Because 99% of the people are not even using their subconscious mind. It's just dead there. It's just lying there and throughout the day. It's not doing anything. So I hope this video gave you a direction of why and what I'm thinking and what I'm actually trying to solve. If it is aligned with your goals, then please do consider hitting the subscribe button because these kind of videos will keep on rolling on weekly basis. Let me know the topics that you want me to discuss, and my goal would be to actually give you a structure to think on it and then come up with different possibilities. And I don't want you to bind yourself to the structure. For example, I gave you an example of 80/20. I don't want you to solve every problem of your life with 80/20. This is a structure, a framework that I gave you, but don't bind yourself with this framework now. You can use this whenever you're stuck somewhere, but try to expand your thinking capacity, try to expand your brain, try to use your brain, and I'm sure this is a very powerful tool. You'll be able to figure out more and more such solutions. You'll be able to figure out more and more such frameworks that are the most important things. So grasp a lot of knowledge and use it to make your frameworks, and then eventually use it to solve all the complex problems in your life. This is the funda that I want you guys to develop and use. If you find it a little helpful, if you think that these frameworks, these structures would actually help you think better, solve better, then consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video, and do let me know what other topics should we discuss. Thank you. Bye bye. I'll see you guys in the next one.